Hey, we're live.
Hi.
We're only 1 minute late this time. That's maybe our best record yet.
Yeah. I don't think we've ever been late before. We were just trying to get lighting set up. The lighting was not good.
Well, it's always like a minute or two at least.
Yeah. The light I have a lamp in here. We're in my room. And it's just a little, like a what is it from IKEA. It's like a paper lantern, but it's really long and it has a light bulb in the middle and the lighting was just split. So we had to bring in like a
It was like a scary story. It was lighting from below, like
yeah.
holding a flashlight under your face.
Yes. Let's see. Live chat. There we go. Okay. So welcome.
And yes, this will be kind of in lieu of a video this week, as any of you from the U.S. know, it was Thanksgiving this week, and so
Yeah.
lots of family time. We also moved out of our previous place this week, which ate up an absorbent amount of time.
Yeah, it was a lot. And I still have to go over and finish it up. So
We're close. We're very, very close.
hopefully tomorrow I'll get that finished up.
But Kim actually had the week off, so we were able to do that, and so it was the best time to do it.
Yeah, it was really nice having some time off, but not getting paid for a week is kind of not nice. Not
Well,
great.
that's kind of the same thing when you don't make a video on here as well.
Yeah, true. Very true. So, howdy.
From Spain and Texas, those are worlds apart.
Yeah.
Guess they're both warm though.
Saudi Arabia.
Oh, awesome.
Hello, Collinsville. Hello. Now that Thanksgiving is over, I'm going to be working on sending out Christmas cards. Keep an eye out for mine in the next few weeks.
Oh, definitely will, for sure.
Okay. That sounds good.
That's Matt from Springfield.
Oh.
He gave us like the
Oh.
map and everything.
Yeah.
Super nice guy.
Yeah, that reminds me, I need to send out thank you notes for our wedding. I'm gonna use our postcards because we have a ton of them. Howdy, howdy. Yeah, we're full time at the house, Jean. Functioning bathroom. We have a half bath, so we don't have a shower here. So we go to Caleb's dad John's house to take a shower.
And John's in the chat. You'll see him under John Kinnaman.
Yeah. So I was
So
just there earlier.
thank you, Dad, for letting us shower.
Yeah.
You're making it all possible.
And I am a daily shower, although now that it's cold out and I'm not like getting clammy from the humidity, I'm not needing to shower every day. So I'm going down there every other day now for the most part, unless I get dirty doing something. So yeah.
And South Island, New Zealand.
Oh wow.
Patricia. I never quite made it to the South Island. I only I think it was Rotorua. I hope I'm saying that correctly. There's a lot of hot springs there, but I think that's like everywhere in New Zealand because it's all very volcanic.
Let's see. Hi from Ireland. Let's see. Do you have a functioning bathroom? I saw a question. Do you have other jobs? Caleb only does YouTube. I work in game show casting for The Price is Right.
I do also help my father. My father does real estate stuff here and there. Depends. Actually, he has a really cool project coming up that I'll probably show on the channel just because I think it's really cool. It's interesting. And kind of like this project is a time capsule. He's kind of creating an own little time capsule, but 1950, which I think is really cool. So I definitely do help here and there with that as well.
Yeah. Caleb, do you wear a ring now that you are married?
Not as often as I probably should, but most of the things I do are construction, working on things. And obviously, you don't want anything to get caught in machinery. I also don't want to, have anything break or fall on it and smash against my finger. That sort of stuff. And then in hockey, it's very uncomfortable under my gloves. So
and it's a big adjustment to not wear jewelry and then to have that on your finger.
And I never have. I've never worn anything. I think I might get one of those little silicone bands. Maybe that might be a safer bet.
Yeah, it's not a big deal to me. I don't really care. He knows he's mine.
Yeah, she knows I love her.
Yeah. Let's see here. Kim, are you still doing videos for your YouTube channel? It's hard now that I work full time. So it's just kind of, I've talked about it before, but I really value my downtime. And, working on the house is one thing, but like having to think about filming it and then editing it and adding music and speeding things up, or
Editing
whatever.
takes a lot of time.
For my channel, it doesn't really because I'm not because Caleb used to edit for a living, so he's a lot more serious about it. Where I was just kind of let me get it where it needs to be. Toss the music. I don't really do cards where or the title card or anything like that.
Yeah.
So it was never really hard. It's just time-consuming thing. I don't know. I would like to, and I think about it a lot. But I was also thinking about just doing my style of video once a week on Caleb's channel to help him out.
What we've been considering doing is going a bit more because, like, for the main channel videos, I have to kind of, fit a line here, so I can't really explain things too in depth because people will lose interest and stop watching, and then the video goes nowhere. But I know that some people really want to understand exactly what I'm doing, and so I think we might have Kim do those type of videos on the channel as well that
Mhm.
are way more long form, way more in the details, understanding exactly what I'm doing,
Yeah.
along with her great commentary. 'Cause she's really good at it.
Yeah, and I feel like you guys, like a little bit of chit chat. There's not a lot of chit chat in Caleb's videos, like us talking about, or me talking about like what's going on and our lives and stuff. So I feel like that's why a lot of people liked my channel.
Well, it's definitely a more personal edge, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. Like,
And this is always kind of an odd relationship online too, because well, there's a lot of people that really know us, but it's impossible for us to know everybody here.
hmm
A few of you guys I actually talk to fairly frequently.
yeah.
Marvin being one.
Hi,
Hey, Marvin.
Marvin. Hi. Let's see. There was another question up here. Has anything changed since you two got married? Mm-mm.
No, not really.
No.
To be honest, it doesn't really feel any different.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just kind of like a day that we did our thing, and then we had some food, and then it was a whirlwind, and then things were the same the next day.
Well, and it's kind of like the same. Like we did things very cheaply, too. Like we got married at my grandparents, and so I don't know. It wasn't really like it was a really fun occasion, but it wasn't like some big grand thing either.
No.
So I don't know. It doesn't really change anything. It was like a really good
What is
party.
that noise?
I don't know. He's playing with a piece of plastic.
Okay. Atlas
Oh,
has.
he laid on top of his food bowl. That's what it was. Somebody's hungry.
Yeah, it's about dinner time for the dogs. So Otis is passed out right now, right down here, but he'll probably start saying something here in a minute. Oh, there he is. There's Otis. Oh, hey, buddy. And then Max is back there. So,
We got the dogs at all parts, all
yeah.
around us.
Um, Congrats to you both. Thank you. Any progress getting the boom lift fixed? Let me see if I can make this bigger.
Actually, I couldn't get a hold of the company this week because they were down for Thanksgiving. They were supposed to come the week before last. And I was expecting a call. They said they'd send out somebody in a day or two, and they'd give me a call when they're on their way, and I never received a call. And I went through voicemails thinking, I don't know, maybe I missed it. Maybe my phone was dead. Maybe something had happened. But I was able, like, this is the second company I've tried to contact through for this, and they were at least able to pick up the phone call, which
Yeah.
is more than I can say about the first company.
Mhm.
If not, I'll find somebody. There will be a way to get it done. We will get it done.
And we got a part in for that thing, right?
I have a thing that will throw codes. So like if you go to like AutoZone, they have those little computers they'll plug in that'll tell you what's going on with it. I have a
Oh.
reader that'll do that. Do need to go and plug it in.
Okay. I thought it was
Um,
like literally a replacement part. Atlas, go around, buddy. There's too much stuff there. Went to the laundromat today and I brought in a ton of laundry. I had 8 dryers going at the same time.
Again, the problem of moving out of your old place.
Yeah, so there was a bunch of clothing and bedding there still. So I went and washed most of that. And now it's kind of
Let me
all
go
just
help him.
chilling. So he's trying to get into my room from the front parlor. And he could just go through the hallway, but he's like, I'm coming through the door. So
Yeah, I know. There's just a light in their way.
hi, big dog.
I know. Studio lighting isn't conducive to movement, huh?
No. Max, say hi. Max. Hi, buddy. I can't see because I popped the chat out, but it's really not even. It's not helping. Let's see.
See them.
Restore chat. There we go. That wasn't helping. And oh, there it goes. How many houses near you are being done or have been done?
There are. Well, there's one directly behind us that they just put a new mansard roof on it. They did some kind of weird vinyl siding diamond shaped. Like it actually looks pretty good. For not being slate, it's some kind of faux slate, but it has the diamond shape to it. So it sticks with the roots, but it's like silvery white. There's that one there. I know Mr. Green, his place was an absolute disaster before he did it, but he's been using it as a studio. There's a white building down at the end of our block. There's been some stuff happening at the other side of the end of our block. But I would say for the most part, most of the houses have been kept fairly okay. At least most of the ones I've been into. In the '80s, there was a big group of people who were trying to bring this area back, and they spent a lot of money fixing up a lot of the houses on the next
Mhm.
block down. And so those are actually all in really good shape still. There's a lot of them that have been used as museums and things like that, but actively probably two or three at the moment, and I'm sure there's more around. But of course, I drive mostly down our block.
Mhm.
Um, there's a lot of plans to build new structures too. Like there's a bunch of multi-story hotels and
Mhm.
office compounds and things that will be extremely modern and won't really work with the aesthetic, but at
But
least
they're further
it's
down where things are a lot more desolate. So.
yeah, and there's not really anything in their place at the moment, so it's not like they're replacing things. The homes that used to be there and businesses used to be there are way gone.
Mhm.
Um, but you know, it is what it is. We're probably gonna expect to see like the 5 over ones that you see in every well, every city at this point. Obviously, it's not the same, but you have the one commercial unit on the bottom and a bunch of apartments above it.
Mhm.
Um, we expect to probably see those in the next 10, 15 years.
Mhm. Um, have prices risen on restoration opportunity properties in your area?
Yeah, greatly actually. There we bought this place in 2020. Yeah, 2020.
Mhm.
For 65,000, and there's a smaller house down the way, still a nice big house, brick house, that has a roof that's starting to cave in and has a bunch of holes in the floors. I think each floor has a hole in it. And they wanted 100,000 for that, and I'm not sure if they got it or not.
Mhm.
We got really lucky to get in
Yeah,
to
when we
be here
did.
when we did.
Yeah.
Um, so we feel extremely fortunate for that. It's kind of one of those things that's somewhat, I guess, meant to be. Um, but yeah, so we did all right. I almost need a little bit of caffeine.
Freaking cheesecake. I have some Coke Zero.
Is there caffeine in Coke Zero?
Yes.
Okay.
Um, so somebody asked, oh, Pam said, "How's the job going, Kim?" It's good. It's pretty good. I like it. It's nice to work from home. That's very nice. It's fun. I don't know. Sometimes people are really, really stoked to talk to me, so that's nice. So
Well, that
nice.
should make your job at McDonald's.
What job am I hate you. I hate this
Every time she wears that shirt, I just call her the Hamburglar. She's my sweet Hamburglar.
job at McDonald's. Like I
She
haven't worked at
hamburgled my
I
heart.
was like, I haven't worked at McDonald's since I was like 17. Come on,
I'm
man.
glad you figured it out really quick,
Come
though.
on, man. You know, Paradox Fossils, I get Coke Zero or Diet Coke, whatever they've got, and then I put a little bit of Coke in there just so it tastes even more normal, just a little bit. So
Is there anything for sale on your street? So S Jan. Right now, I'm not sure. There's a lot of buying and holding going on. So I imagine at a certain point, everybody be like, okay, this is the peak. Everybody will sell and things will get fixed really quickly. But we're not to that point yet. There might be something for sale. There is occasionally. What's going on?
John wants you to
Oh,
talk
is it?
about their video.
Oh yeah, of course. I will.
Okay.
Actually, so we're gonna be ending this stream at 8:30, and directly after that, the Mansard Media, their video is gonna come out, and it's the one where I'm actually at their place talking about their door. So if you want to catch the other end of the projects I've been working on, I'll be in that chat directly after this is over. So we'll
Mhm.
we'll carry on the fun for an extra 20, 30 minutes.
May relocate to Wheeling, West Virginia. Much the same buildings, restorations going on just up the Ohio River. Very active.
Yeah, there was a really big viral video before we got the house about a girl who bought one in Wheeling.
Oh, okay.
And it's like right on the river, I believe, and it's kind of built up on hills. It's
Mm.
really cool.
Is that like a smaller town or is
Yeah,
it like
yeah,
a
yeah.
cool.
Something probably the size of like Union or Washington,
Oh, okay. All right, cool.
probably 60,000.
Okay.
Maybe it's bigger than that, but I think it's only about that. But the houses are amazing, just beautiful. And now that
Mhm.
people can work remotely, it's like, why not go get a better quality of life somewhere in a small town like that?
Mhm. For sure. Anything going on with the house next to the lot where Hall's house used to stand? It's just slowly crumbling.
I ran some graffiti artists off from tagging it the other day. But other than that, no. Again, if I hit the lottery, I would love to save it. It is savable. It's absolutely savable, but it's $300,000, $400,000 savable, and I mean, we struggle with what we got.
Yeah, for sure. So, just finished editing it. I had 2 full days of getting to really deep dive into all the amazing info you provided. Okay.
On what? Oh, yeah. For Matt and them, yeah, it
Mhm.
should be really cool because again, too, I get to be a bit more in depth on that because I'm working on like their project and I can explain kind of what I'm really doing with things. And it's something I guess it's a little different when you're talking to your camera versus somebody else's camera. So I think it's actually going to be a really cool video. So definitely after this is over, go check those guys out. Plus, what they're doing is really cool. And if you guys want faster progress, you're going to get it from them because they have a crew doing things. Like it's not just me stumbling through how to figure this process out.
Mhm.
So
That bumpy on my head. Um,
what?
no questions. Okay, got questions?
Market is still strong in St. Louis? Yes, it is.
Mhm. Any progress made on the sinkhole?
Oh, that those guys need to. They have half the money already. Like we've already, paid the initial half. I still don't have a date on when they're supposed to show up.
Ugh.
Which is really annoying because like I'm trying to fix the emergency or what was the main emergency first. But it's like, okay, if you guys are gonna wait till I don't know, late December or something, well, maybe I could have got more of them answered with that
Don't.
money. So I'm hoping that we can figure that out.
Somebody asked about the craft room,
Your craft room?
library, and Kim's craft room. Yeah,
Oh,
Caleb's
what's
just
going on with
working
them?
on getting the house like weather
So
tight right now.
the initial goal with
Honestly.
working on those rooms first in my head, and it was a good idea. It just didn't pan out. I wanted to use those rooms because there was a bathroom, a bedroom essentially, and something we use as a kitchen in that little area that we completely block off and just heat and cool that one area, which would have been perfect. So I aimed at that area first because it made the most sense. It's also one of the heaviest damaged part of the house because of water. So it was something I wanted to handle, and it was the structural problems there were probably some of the worst in the house. So I wanted to handle that. But when we ran into the problem of the AC system, so in these old houses, I can't drop a soffit because it means I lose all the transit windows on the second floor, which I'm unwilling to do. The option that I have then is to use a system called Unico. And the quotes I got about a year, maybe a year and a half ago, were about $40,000 for that system. And so I quickly said, okay, well, maybe I should work on something other part of the house and fix it up first, um, so we could, afford to be here. Because at that time, I mean, until just recently, we're paying for two places.
Yeah.
And the place doesn't cost me a huge amount of money, but it's still, not great to be living on two spots.
Yeah. Um. How are the fur babies? They are all great. They are all fantastic. Caleb, Atlas just used. I put Otis's little set of steps that he uses to get into Caleb's
Did
bed.
you use those stairs?
Atlas climbed up them tiny stairs.
Look at him back there looking like a roasted marshmallow.
He does look like a marshmallow. You're all bulled up too. Why you like that, bro? He's like this.
Hey.
Let's see. Kim, do you have your own office right now? I know it probably isn't finished yet. This is my office. My bed is right behind this table. The kitchen is right over there.
Yeah, she kind of stays in the second parlor. So that's where we are right now. And I stay in the dining room. Some nights we stay in the same room, but right now our schedules are so very drastically off that it makes little to no sense. It's like I'm up till 2 in the morning.
Also, he snores. We both have a full size bed. We have separate bedrooms. It's fine.
Yeah, and it's until we can get like our real bedroom set up on the third floor.
And
Well,
then we're
actually, our
getting a king.
house.
Yeah, and then we're getting a king size bed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Also, Odie and Max sleep with her. There's barely any room.
Otis and Max and Hank. So I'll usually have a cat on one side of me, Otis right here, and then Max down on one side of my legs. So I'm just surrounded at all times, and I'm in a full size, and it's full. So.
What's Kenneth's question? Keep missing my question. Mahogany was appropriate in Victorian times. Is expensive mahogany appropriate today? I mean, wait, what for directly? Like, if you had like, I guess it's maybe questioning about like the windows because they're mahogany.
Yo, yo.
They're not technically mahogany. I think they're called sapele, but I don't think that they're like a mahogany replacement. They're like mahogany type or like, but I don't think there's actual like real mahogany. Kind of like was like a
Then it's not mahogany.
well, a red panda isn't really a panda either. It's a bear.
Okay.
So it's kind of like that. They look the same, or they look very similar, and they have similar qualities, but they're not true mahogany. But it's also extremely rot resistant. I don't know. There's some really good quality to that. But I think it's just harder to get actual mahogany.
Oh,
I
okay.
guess I don't know.
So, somebody said, "What are you gonna do once the whole house is restored?"
Oh, I mean, I plan on like all these tools I'm getting and all this stuff. Like I'm planning on building a workshop, and I'll probably get that done probably before the entire house is done. But in the meantime, while I'm doing these things to help fund with this and to help people out in my neighborhood and the city itself, I hope to be able to build parts for storehouses. Kind of like my carpenter Eric builds parts for the mansard roof and redoes and retools and just makes things perfect again as they were when they were originally built. I hope to do that the same and be an extension of him and of other craftsmen here, so that we here in St. Louis have a good group of people who know how to work on these houses, and I hope to be a part of that. I also hope to use this YouTube channel at some point to go to houses that I know that the owners don't have the funds to do this, film it so you guys have great content, and then do the work for free. At least that's kind of how I see it. I would really like to do that
Mhm.
because I can help. You guys get great content. I get fulfillment myself about fixing something, and the person who couldn't maybe afford some serious work can get the work done on their house that's much needed in a very appropriate way. So that's kind of what I hope to do. I hope to never stop. I think I'll always have projects. I've always been a project oriented person. Um, and so let's be real, this house will never really be done. There'll always be tweaks. There's always maintenance. There's so many things here.
Mhm.
It's a big place, and there's comes with big problems. And when something fails, it fails severely. So I'll be working from my entire life until they put me in the ground or box or oven or whatever. Well, that's what happens if you get cremated.
Damn, morbid. Um, so let's see. Some Belinda said, "Kim, I always enjoyed your trips around thrift shops. Hopefully, you have time in the future to do that again." I like doing those videos too. It was always really awkward filming them though.
And I don't like filming in public.
Yeah, it's awkward, and sometimes there's music. I actually really like that because it's an excuse to go thrifting. But when I was trying to do YouTube full time, before I started working for the casting company on Price is Right, um, after the new year, and I stopped working full time at the restaurant, those didn't do very well. So I didn't want to keep doing them because it was kind of like, like I'm trying to make a living in addition to, doing stuff I like and, help Caleb and all that. And it just it wasn't worth it. But now that I'm not trying to like make it worth it, like yeah, I would like that. I would like that.
Q&A in my local time. Um, the lack of an upload schedule is really messing me up, and I don't get alerts even though I have them. And so how do you plan on getting? Well, we've been uploading now on Fridays. Basically, the reason for that is because I have to. Well, I wasn't able to ever do anything on weekends. Weekends were get everything ready so I could upload for Monday. We've been fairly consistent about getting things up either like 8:30 sometimes on Fridays. Now this week, simply put, I had Thanksgiving. I had
Mm,
family things to handle, and
trying to move from the old house.
well, and with divorces too, I have three Thanksgivings to go to. I could have had five to go to, all of them family.
Hmm.
But everybody kind of at that, especially Thanksgiving, Christmas, I'm torn into 1,000 different directions, and you want to make everybody happy. I love all of my family. I don't have that common issue I think people have, like I don't want to talk to that cousin. Like I don't. I love all of my family. They're all great. So I try to spend as much time and give as much of myself to them, especially around these days, as possible.
Hmm. Um, do you guys have a plan for if you get to an age where you have difficulty getting around in the house? Say you end up with bad knees and can't climb the stairs. We'll be in the basement,
Yeah, the vet clinic has a door right to it, and it's only a few steps down.
and that's where there will be a full bathroom.
There's a full bathroom going in there, so
Mhm.
there is that kind of fail safe as well.
Mhm.
It's still stairs, but then again, most houses everywhere have stairs.
Mhm. You know, I was just thinking, I would like if we have children, um, them to stay. You know, if
Mhm.
like just stay living here as a family. You know, like when they're an adult and they get married, they stay here.
You put them above the above the shop,
I wouldn't mind that. You know, I always like that.
or we find another really awesome house that's in the neighborhood and restore it for them,
Hmm. Yeah, or
or let them have the pride in themselves to, and just give them the tools and the resources to be able
mhm.
to do it themselves.
um,
Depends if they're more like me or more like you.
what do you mean by that?
Well, I think you would like to just see it done a bit faster, and I would like to see. Well, I like to have the pride in myself knowing that I'm able to actually pull it off.
Hmm. Let's see. They make home elevators that are small. Oh, we'll have to get what are they called? Where you go whoop, down the stair
Where they
rail.
drive you up the wall.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know that I would do that for the same reason that I couldn't put an actual elevator in this house. There's just you would have to destroy some of the character.
Yeah, there's not
Um,
like any unused space, like a real like big house, where they have like big closets and you can sneak something in somewhere. Like every we would lose something if we did that.
yeah,
So,
you would have to break something, and
mhm,
also, I mean, at the end of the day, too, you'd have to have an elevator outside. The house, just to get to the first floor, is 5.5 feet off the ground.
mm,
So it was just never built with accessibility in mind. It just wasn't,
mhm.
which is unfortunate. But I mean, what do you do?
Let's see. Any plans on owning a carriage or an old 20s car when the house is done?
I would love to own a Model A, mostly because the Model Ts, you have to turn them over. I don't think they ever made them with electric starts. I
Oh,
could be wrong on that. But more than that, I would love to own either a Model A or a Model T flatbed truck, like a stake bed,
mhm,
because I think that'd be so cool. I love that. So yeah, I mean, there's an idea. I think it would be amazing, but
mhm.
we'll know. Yeah, we'll have to figure out how that all works.
Let's see. Ian said, "Is it possible to share how much you originally paid for the property and how much it goes up each year?"
I don't know if it's actually technically worth any more right now because it hasn't been reappraised. I don't think. We paid 65,000 for it
I'm
though
sure if we
two
wanted to
years ago.
sell it to somebody, they would be like, if we would, they would, it would be for more than that.
Oh,
But
those we buy ugly houses. People have been basically beating down the door. You know.
we calling our house ugly.
No, 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 no. But you know what I'm
I
saying,
know, I
like
know.
the wholesalers.
No, I know. Yeah.
Yeah, no, they want me to sell my house every week, and I'm like, no, it's
Why?
never gonna happen.
So,
Well, I've
so they
I've
can
told
gut
them
it.
no a bunch of times, very nice. So I'm starting to get a bit more like, look, dude, it's not gonna happen.
Heard. Um.
How's it going with the garage door? That's actually something I need to talk about on the channel. We have a new garage door. It's sitting in the garage. The problem is when they went to put the garage door in, they moved the old metal, rails, and the middle beam that runs down the center of the garage that holds up the roof and the ceiling dropped 6 inches. It scared them a lot, as it would me, because it's probably 600 700 pounds of wood above their head
Mhm.
that just dropped pretty rapidly. And they said they're not going back in there until I fix it. So right now, because that roof got to a point of being pretty bad, it rotted out that beam. The roof basically has to come off of that place. I plan on putting a flat roof back on it and building like a little stubby mansard that goes around it to match with the front of the house and putting some corbels up.
Corbels.
I do like myself some corbels.
Corbels.
So, but it's just not a priority. It only really leaks bad in one spot. It just happens to be where that beam is. And it doesn't make sense really to just like throw a tarp over it, but there's nothing in there that's like it's all iron and stuff like that. And yeah, rust is a problem. Most of it's enameled. So I'm not terribly concerned with it. That is something I'm hoping to fix possibly next year. Um, but of course, if I'm throwing that much time and labor into it, I don't want the white. Basically, what it was a stopgap. It was something just to close it up. Um, so we'll probably get like pull out doors or something that look more period appropriate
Mhm.
to make it look nicer.
We missed one up here. Jean says to raise money for your home, maybe Caleb can make an Xmas ball with a drawing of the home. You can sell them to raise funds.
We could maybe
Like an ornament
I guess an ornament.
with it printed on there? Is that that's
Well,
probably an
maybe.
option on applique.
Well, if we can get those little plates off the Holland Brown machine, you could have
Mm,
like little Holland Brown ornaments. Those will actually work really well for that.
okay.
I've looked in actually to getting some smooth on silicone to cast that. I don't know what I would. I guess I'd probably cast them in resin. Um,
Resin's dangerous.
What?
It's stinky.
well, I mean, I don't think it'd be
You have
that
to
bad.
be careful.
I mean, I've used it a little bit. It would be my first rodeo with it, but
Mhm. Did we get the lift repaired? Nah, not yet.
um, they were supposed to come last week. They didn't come. They didn't call me. So I need to call them again, but they weren't open for Thanksgiving weekend. Hey, I'm stoked they gave their employees a week off. I think that's really cool as a company, but it didn't do me any favors this week. It's always difficult until like December to get things done because everybody's kind of like ready for Christmas and all that stuff, which I totally get. But it doesn't make things harder to get things done, I guess.
Let's see. I did see one. Are you guys going to the Soulard Parlor tours on December 3rd? That sounds like a lot of fun.
December 3rd.
Yeah, what's December 3rd?
I think I have that thing with Justin.
What thing?
The World's Fair meeting. It's like the end of the year banquet they have. So I believe the World's Fair ended that day.
Banquet?
Yeah, you're not going.
I love words like banquet and buffet. Continental breakfast. Marvin, what's going on? Caleb, I'm sorry if I offended you.
What?
What did you do?
No, you're all good, dude.
Don't get your hopes up. I'm an amateur model maker. Cool. Caleb, I almost have the 3D model of your house ready. I've decided to make it a papercraft net novelty item that you can offer to subscribers. I hope to have it done in the next few days.
Oh, awesome, man!
Cool.
Great. No, I mean I'm stoked on seeing it.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, you gotta take a step back, man. You're never really going to offend me, so it's
Yeah.
all good, buddy.
Is there crime in St. Louis? There is crime everywhere.
Yes, I mean there is, and there is in St. Louis. Like we
Mhm.
can't say there isn't.
Yeah.
But there is a certain ratio that we got kind of messed up with because the city limits are very small. So a city like Chicago with a really large population, with their entire MSA in that population, it gets kind of floated out a little bit more. Whereas St. Louis, the city limits are so small and it's not catching. So it's like 300,000 people in St. Louis, but the metro area is like 2.4 million.
Really?
Yeah, so we're not getting so none of that population gets caught in that, so it looks
Mm.
worse than it is.
Mhm.
That being said, yes, there are still problems here.
Emily, Caleb, and Kim, when do you plan on having children? Oh, whenever it happens.
We're sort of kind of working towards it.
Yeah, I need to actually do some research about if it's like safe for me to be here if that happens.
I don't think there's anything like within most of the house that's a problem. It'd be the basement I'd be worried about most.
Well, lead paint, you just wouldn't be able to mess with the lead paint.
Well, the way most of it's not like there's not a lot of chipping.
Yeah.
And what's on the walls is acrylic.
Okay.
It would be a good idea to get you into an environment that isn't as dusty, so like clean up, like really clean up some
Or I
rooms
could
and
just go
seal up.
stay at John's house.
There's that possibility too.
Yeah, so, well, you know. Do you have a timeline on finishing your house?
I think it's probably about 7 to 8 years off. But again, that's not actually different than a lot of the places I've seen that do this. Like, well, it's the Friends Arts House. I'm not going to say her name because she doesn't ever want to be up on anything. But if you look up the Friends with a Z, like Fran Z Arts with a Z at the end as well, so Art with a Z, house in St. Louis and Soulard. I know that house took about 7.5, 8 years to do. And the person who did it, they did it over a long period of time. She got the people who really knew what they were doing and restored it to its original glory. They did some amazing work over there. My carpenter Eric and Claire, those two, they worked a lot over there. But if you really want to get something back to original, it takes time because you have to collect the pieces. You have to find the correct craftsman, or if you're doing it yourself, you have to learn the skills. So there's a lot to learn. There's a lot to do. And that house, if you can believe it, is actually slightly smaller than mine by about, I think, about 800 square feet. But it also has a like grotto underneath it with all these like little crystals and all this stuff. It's really, really pretty.
I don't know where the
Love the
cat
content and the
is.
professionalism. Oh, thank you, CRP. I don't know how terribly professional I am, but I try to be pretty decent. I like to work though, so that's always good.
We've got differences. Somebody said slate sidewalks.
Slate sidewalks?
Yeah. At what point down the line will you possibly have slate sidewalks?
I actually think most of the time in St. Louis, we didn't do. At least I've never seen slate sidewalks here. We usually use brick. St. Louis was a huge brick supplier from the country. We had massive clay deposits. There's old photos of the city where like it's like around. Believe it's around like Grand Center. There'd be all the built up stuff for Grand Center, and then like a 30-story pit where they were digging the clay out and manufacturing the bricks. And there's a bunch of those around the city. So most everything here is brick. It's brick, everything.
Did the plaster medallion get finished and installed? I might have missed it if you did it.
No, I have it mostly finished. Just one piece I still have to glue back on, and just a few minor repairs. But that'll be handled fairly soon because that's a room we're hoping to get 100% done. Probably fairly early next year.
Excuse me.
The plaster guy had a bunch of other jobs to do. We told him to go ahead and take those because it's not the biggest priority right now. Biggest priority for me was making sure the thing was back together. And I do want to make some molds and some casts of it while it's down before we go ahead and put it back up. Although I don't know yet if it's actually the original that's going back up. Probably not. It'll probably be a cast of the original.
When will you start on your kitchen?
Well, there's going to be 2 kitchens, well, 2.5 sort of in the house. So it depends on what kitchen you're talking about. Currently, where I've been working on the doors and stuff is one of the kitchens in the basement. That's also our laundry room, but it's our modern, redundant kitchen.
So that's probably where I'll be cooking most of the time.
The other thing is I have to take apart at least one of the 2 stoves we have and completely redo it and learn a huge bit of knowledge about how to make sure all the gas lines are safe and connected correctly and nothing's corroded. So I have to completely disassemble and restore a 1920s stove. So that's going to be a little bit. The other thing I think is like they think they want about $12,000 to restore one from a company, which is a little bit over what we can afford. So it falls on me to figure it out. But I will, no problem.
Which is best to remove paint from wood trim and doors? Chemicals, heat gun, or sanding?
I think it heavily depends on what exactly is behind it and if you're going to paint it again or not. I wouldn't use, and actually what paint is on it as well. If it's really stubborn paint, I might use like a heat gun, preferably not a heat gun, preferably one of those infrared ones. Supposedly it's safer. Do I know 100%? No, but it's definitely faster. But they are expensive.
Dinky in the corner.
But chemically too can be frustrating because if you go and use like something like citrus strip, it's gonna take forever. Even if you like do the method of like covering it in cling wrap, you're gonna wait an entire day waiting for it to work, and then come back and you still have to do that 3 or 4 more times. So that can be quite annoying. So it just really depends on what you're trying to achieve with it. If it's really beautiful wood, I would definitely go chemical over heat because you can scar it. And if you can, avoid sanding as little as possible, which is easier with chemicals. I really do like that stuff I have at Cooper Strip Club. I think it works amazing, especially if the paint isn't terribly old. Lead paint is always going to be harder to get off. I don't care what stripper you use. It's always more difficult. Luckily, our house was painted a bit later than before the 70s, I guess, when they stopped using lead paint.
Anything you would not use period correct stuff here in Twin Cities windows would be an example.
Huh?
What?
One more.
Anything you would not use period correct stuff. Here in Twin Cities, windows would be an example.
Um,
Minnesota.
Well, there's like, for instance, we have an AC system or an HVAC system. It's not period correct. There were things that were somewhat similar, like the Campbell House. They would heat the entire basement really hot, and they would just have holes in the floor, and the hot air would rise up through the building. But we have something that looks like that because we have the old cast iron grates in the floor now that look period correct. When you like, yeah, I mean, you have to use like kitchen, so it's mostly systems. We're not using copper piping. We're using mostly PEX with copper stub outs. So there are some things like that. I wouldn't put knob and tube back in the house because then you can't really insulate the walls because if the wires get hot, that's why they're always in air and not insulated. So there's certain things. Windows are definitely not one though. They are new windows, but they're built on the same equipment I have outside. Bill has a sash sticker that makes window sashes. That's an HB Smith. That is the original company that Hall and Brown came from. It's been around, pre-Civil War. So, it's made the same way the stuff was made here, even though they're modern. And they're single pane as well. So
I'm just paying attention to the dogs. Come here, you.
hello from the Dutchies. Wish you guys are impressed on your marriage and have a great time. Hope you can do the things best wishes for you. Hello, and thank you.
Otis said it's dinner time.
Here, I'll feed them real quick.
Sorry, regarding landscaping, I'd imagine back in Victorian times, most copied England, which wouldn't suit the soil and weather conditions in other countries. Certainly happened in Australia, not the best. Oh, okay. Volunteered at a historic home in Toronto. Ceiling medallion got wet and crumbled like wet sugar on the dining room table. All right, dude. All sections survived and used to make a duplicate. No one would ever. Oh, that's awesome. Odie's having Odie's over here. Whose scoop is that?
I'm gonna go a little bit to Odie and the rest of the map.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
Where's Max's bowl?
Do you have or are you interested? Max's bowl is over there. You probably kicked it under the bed. Caleb comes into my room and just into everything. Got my shoes on the floor next to the bed. He just kicks them under. He doesn't pay attention. Let's see. Don't like citrus strips since it gives an orange haze. Oh, do you have or are you interested in clothing styles from past time periods? Yeah, I would totally, wear older stuff, like Victorian or Edwardian dresses. Just, don't have a need right now, and also it costs money that we, spend on fixing stuff on the house. How would you rate Abatron's wood hardener and epoxy putty? You really like that stuff, don't you?
Better than anything else I've ever used. I really, really love that stuff. It is expensive. It is, I don't know, huge amount better. I do think it's less easy to sculpt with though. So, for instance, I haven't shown it yet, but on the door, on that little wooden detail, I had to really build it up and then break it back, and it doesn't sculpt as easy as regular wood filler, which is kind of annoying, but it will last a lot longer. So longevity wise, huge ups. It's also really light, which is odd. It's like Play-Doh.
Yeah, it's like Sculpey.
Kind of like that. Not as much as you think.
No, not Sculpey. What's the Crayola clay that's not? It's like foam.
Oh, I don't know. It don't matter that much. Yeah, it's kind of like that.
Model Magic. It's like Model Magic. Do you plan to remake the ornate chimneys?
Yes. Although I'll have to find a mason who can do that. The guy we had put the masonry back up so the wall wasn't falling down. While he's a great guy and he did great work, it was more rough and tumble than it was full triage at that point because the house was going to collapse. And he got up there and he did the work. And he did it at an amazing price, and he did a great job. But it's not the really ornate stuff. He's not the guy I would do for that. Probably at some point we're gonna have to go back through and repoint the entire house and get everything perfect and lay it down the red mortar like I'm pretty sure they had originally.
Mhm. Let's see. Knob and tube actually does a better job dissipating heat than Romex. It's the age and brittleness that can make knob and tube dangerous. Plus, knob and tube is not grounded.
Because see, Matt, what I always heard was that the fires that were caused from knob and tube were because people would put spray insulation in there, and that the knob and tube was really poor at handling the heat, and that's why there was so much air around them always. They always gave them a huge air gap. Was because of that. I could be entirely wrong, but that's just it could be a wife's tale. I don't know, but that's what I always heard.
Jean said, "Period outdoor plantings." I don't really know much about that. We'll probably just put in what we like.
Well, no, I for the outside, I do plan on doing a pretty Victorian garden with a little plaque to show what Hall's house looked like,
Okay.
and kind of at least the front like bay and the front like door and all that stuff. I plan on digging a lot of the stone out of that foundation. I'm pretty sure they pushed a lot of it in there because I see a lot of it poking up in that lot, and building that little part back of the front, and then putting like a bench or something there with a plaque on it that would talk about Hall's house. That way, the rest of the history can be combined again.
All right. Are subscribers still sending you notes and gifts? I enjoyed watching that too. Yeah.
Yeah, and we actually do have some.
I was at John's house earlier to take a shower, and he said, "Hey, take this stuff." And I said, "My car's really full of laundry." He said, It's not like a big space taker." And then I got out of the shower and I was talking to him for a second, and we both forgot. So
Yeah, my father goes to the PO box and picks up the mail for me because it's
Mhm.
much closer to his house, like right
Yes.
behind it.
Mhm.
He's also the one. If you guys get postcards from us, he sends those out. So big ups to my dad. He does help a lot.
Andrea said Caleb Cooper's doing a special this weekend.
I think I always get the special pricing, anyways.
Yeah.
They when I first started doing this, they actually reached out to me and said that they would do like basically anytime they had a special, whatever that special was, I would get that throughout the year. I don't know. They've been really good to me. They've never like sponsored me or anything. I just actually really like the product. I think it's really good.
Yeah.
And I've spent a fair amount of money with them.
Mm-hmm.
Spent a lot of things to strip here.
Okay. Will you be using your vintage fridge or a newer one? Both. New fridge downstairs. The little one. What is that one? Is that a GE that you have?
Yeah, I'll be using
the smaller one is a GE for your beer fridge.
Yeah,
and then we have a Frigidaire that we'll use in the kitchen upstairs.
Yeah, so we are the little high sense one for upstairs. Yeah, but we're gonna be used in the period appropriate kitchen. It's gonna be period appropriate, except for the fact that they're 1920s appliances. Because we don't want to cook with coal or heat or with wood. It's a bit beyond the authenticity for me. That's the one thing maybe. And then we do actually want refrigeration. I don't want to bring giant ice blocks in and cool my food with it. I do have had a thought about converting one of those old ice boxes, like actual ice boxes, one of like the oak ones with like straw as insulation in there. I thought about converting one of those into an actual refrigerator. I'm just not. I can't find any good information about anybody who's ever done it, or if it's even possible, or what the pros and cons of that would be. Because I would way rather use one of those than even like a G monitor top. But we do currently have 2 monitor tops. Rockin' Rides, $10. Thank you so much, man. Or $9.99. We're gonna round up. Thank you so very much. Hold on.
$99.99.
Why did we miss that one?
What are you talking about?
This one. Any progress on replacing the mantles that were missing when you bought the place?
Oh.
Well, this is actually one of the stand-ins right now. And actually, this week my father went to Detroit, and again, another amazing thing my pops did for me. And there was I'm gonna mess up this name because I forget it. It's been so long. There's a very, very lovely lady who purchased a mantle for us in Detroit as a surprise, full-on surprise. And we were just able to go get it, and it's amazing. It's beautiful Eastlake one that's actually sitting in the other parlor right now, and that will be shown probably next week, maybe earlier. I don't know. The only thing is, right now we have contact with somebody who actually grew up in the house, and we're really waiting for her daughter to move out of her place because all the photos are in her storage,
Mm.
and her daughter's stuff is in her storage as well, and it's blocking access to the other stuff.
Ooh.
So when that stuff moves, she knows she has photos in here on the interior, and as much as like this mantle and that mantle are both absolutely gorgeous, even if the photos I find makes the mantle lesser, I would prefer to have the absolute original.
Mhm.
And if best case scenario, an amazing replacement that's exactly what it was. So as soon as we find those photos, that'll probably be the case for that. As for that mantle that we got gifted, I think would make, and we'll have to talk about this, but I think I'm going to take the painted mantle, the slate mantle that's in the library currently. I think I'm going to replace it with this beautiful mantle here, and then build all the cabinetry and stuff in the library, the shelves out of the same wood, which I
Mhm.
believe it's cherry,
Okay.
even if I have to like, you know,
Sure.
veneer it in cherry.
Let's see. Are you enjoying? Oh wait, no, hang on. When are you putting up? Putting your Christmas tree up? Probably not.
We might do a very small tree. It, back last year, it made more sense because we had I had less projects going on all at once,
Mhm.
and the house was open. Neither Kim or I were living here at that
Yeah,
point.
we weren't living here.
And so we're living in rooms that aren't really designed for living. We don't really have closets or anything else like that. I mean, there's some upstairs, but then you have to walk upstairs for your clothes. So
And it's dusty up there, so.
it's kind of a mess at the moment. I do want to do a little Christmas something, of course, but we haven't quite figured that out yet. But I'm thinking about it.
Are you enjoying the beautiful powder room? Yeah, it's really nice having a toilet.
Yes, absolutely. The
Yeah.
bathroom we've actually had zero problems with.
Yeah.
Now there are the 5% of the items I still need to finish in there, but the main goal was to get a toilet that works.
Yeah.
And a room that looks pretty nice. It is like the one like showpiece of the house so far,
Mhm.
because it's where I've taken things to where I eventually want the entire house to be.
Yeah, it's really, really nice in there. It's very, very nice. I love that room. Let's see, Caleb, have you considered being a consultant paid on other restorations?
You know, as many people who have helped me, I would prefer, like, I would absolutely help anybody out with just, saying, hey, this is my experience. This is what you can do. Here's your options. Here's the options I've uncovered. Maybe look somewhere else and see if you can find other things. I've already done a decent amount of that, and I want to continue doing that. As far as being paid for it, I do actually just want to help people best I can. Um, especially you guys have given me so much. I mean, I don't know if you guys understand or us so much. Um, the ability to do this work, to do these things like this YouTube, this whole career, this whole community has been. Um, Basically, what I'm saying is I couldn't do it without you guys, or it'd be a lot slower of a process. So I feel like I owe part of myself to whoever else is taking up the mantle after me.
The cat is
Whoever's,
missing.
where'd he go?
I don't know. I haven't
Oh, he's in here.
He's in here.
We saw him earlier. He's meowing.
The door's open.
Um,
He's missing in the house.
no. But essentially, yeah, I feel like I owe it to my the community here to give as much as myself to them, so I can get as got it. So I can get as much done for them as humanly possible. So like I said, I hope to turn this channel into something where I can go out, repair houses for people who couldn't possibly afford the repairs that are actually necessary, and do historically accurate restorations for people who couldn't otherwise get one. On houses that maybe they grew up in or their families owned for a while or something like that. Um, and then film it, and I'll make my money off of you guys getting great content. It's like a win-win for everybody.
Yep.
And I think that would just be a really beautiful way to help fix my community and fix my neighborhood and just help as many people as I can with this.
You are so wordy. I can Mikey's still answering that question.
Well, yeah.
Chit chatter. So Hugh Jeffries, which I checked out his channel, so I was like, oh, somebody with check marks here. So he does like technology stuff.
Ooh.
That's cool. Not that one. That's nice. Restoration of a phone.
Well, next time you break your phone, you can put it to him.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of tech stuff. That's cool. So he said, hello, love the videos, always watching each week. Love how period correct you're doing things. Been slowly doing a few small period correct restoration work to my Victorian home.
Well,
Cool.
that's
Do you have
awesome.
anything about your house on your channel or we'd like to see it. That would be cool.
People like watching things coming back to life, so film it, put it up there.
Yes, for sure. Let's see. Insulation means big heat bills. Yeah, for sure, for sure. And these what kind of windows are these? Aluminum windows that we
These
have?
ones down here, and they're double pane, I'm pretty sure as well.
They let in a lot.
They're not.
They're not good windows.
I mean, maybe they're supposed to be quality. I don't know. Aluminum, metal ones are typically more expensive.
Yeah.
But all of our 100+ year windows upstairs, you can open them and they still open on their own.
Mhm.
No, the ones that are like 20 years old, you have to prop a piece of wood in them to keep them open.
They're really heavy. They're really annoying.
Build quality.
Let's see. Nikki is a landscape designer.
Oh yeah, definitely. And well, I want to get her and some other people in because I mean that's just an area I don't know very much about.
Yeah. Oh my.
But we definitely want to get something.
Oh my goodness.
What is it like living in your neighborhood? Actually, extremely peaceful.
Peaceful. Yeah.
Like
Sometimes, because we live on a 35-mile-an-hour street, sometimes you get a dingus flying by, but not too often.
that's probably the biggest complaint.
Yeah.
We absolutely love our neighbors. They're always so very nice. Like it's one of those communities. Well, I mean, I kind of grew up out in the country, so it reminds me a lot of that, where like you live on your little, rock gravel road, and when your neighbor's out getting the mail, they wave at you. It's the same thing here. Hey, how you doing? Oh, great. How you doing? So like you have those little interactions. I think go a long way to making you feel part of a community. I love my neighborhood.
Let's see. Will you be decorating the house for Christmas this year, or is it not really ready yet?
It's certainly not ready yet. It definitely is apt for Halloween, but Christmas.
Yeah. Let's see. Keep all your postcards with my antique ones. That's awesome. What is it like living? You got that one. Romex, as it's installed normally, has more heat compared to the same gauge knob and tube the way it's supposed to be installed. No, we're talking maximum amperage through the wires and comparing.
That's interesting.
Mumbo
He
jumbo.
would know too.
It's mumbo jumbo to me. Are the fireplaces operational? Will you have open fires?
So Michael, the problem with this specific area of house is they were usually heating a lot with coal, so the fireboxes are extremely small. Obviously there's a lot more energy density in coal, so you would get a lot more heat off of it. You need a huge amount more of wood to produce the same amount of heat. So they're not really possible to. I mean, they would work for a log, but you would literally just be a tiny little stick in there. It wouldn't produce very much heat. And then there's the other problem that even if your flue and everything are perfect and the airflow is great and you have a good draft pulling the smoke out, you're going to get smoke in this house. And then there's the problem of all of the wallpaper I plan on putting in here. Somewhere probably around $80,000 in wallpaper. So I don't know how much I really want smoke in the house at all. So probably not. I would like to get some little coal inserts that look like coal, and that's probably as far as we'll go. But it just helps to preserve the house for future. I know in that case it's not technically authentic, but to be authentic would be to destroy other authentic things. So
Jan said, why not a replica of an old refrigerator? Well, we already got them.
They make some sort of okay looking ones, but nothing that's really stood out to me is feeling authentic. I don't see a lot of the like old icebox types. I don't think I've ever seen one of those. There's a company in Britain that redoes them, but also again it was something like a smaller one. It was like $14,000 for a refrigerator, and then you're just talking such extreme money. It's like it's a lot of money. It's it's like getting up to almost to like a quarter of the house, or is that a quarter? I don't know. It's a lot of money.
Yeah. So Lotus Repair said, what vintage items are you looking for? If we see them, do we send you a link? Just Holland Brown machines.
Yeah, anything that has the word Holland Brown on it. I don't care if it's a postcard or whatever. Like if you find something with that on it, yeah, I'll obviously send it to me. Doesn't mean I may be able to get everything, but
yeah, and
anything
beyond that, I mean, at this point, we're not trying to gather any more stuff. We don't have anywhere to put it.
Well, right now, actually, and there might be a possibility of this somewhat soon. There are some things I'm actually, because very early on, I didn't understand exactly what era of furniture I needed, what even that era necessarily looked like. I had pretty broad guesses, I guess. And I know what an antique looks like, but to know and nail down the styles of the aesthetic movement, Eastlake, and all these different things, or what Queen Anne looks like, as far as furniture is concerned, what does that look like? What does it mean for my house? What do I actually need? So we ended up buying things that we probably don't need. So there might be a possibility of getting rid of some things to bring back the pieces that we do really need.
Yeah, but we've really only ever got stuff from like estate sales, right?
Yeah,
Or
and it was
like
always things that came very cheap.
yeah, like cheap. We got this at a estate sale, didn't we?
What, the mantle?
No, the
Yes,
little
yeah,
pouchy guy.
yeah, like a $50.
Yeah, so we have some things, but at this point we're not really. I mean, I guess
Yeah, no, I mean, there's just things we don't like. It was just a learning curve for me figuring out what we actually needed. And then there's quality issues too. Like some of the things we have are Eastlake for sure, but they're very, very cheap end of Eastlake. And then knowing what that looks like, and then knowing what they would have had in this house. So it's not going for the very, very expensive looking furniture of the time, and not the absolute bottom barrel furniture of the time as well. You need to find a middle high, I guess, quality wise.
And my bed is like top of the line, right?
No,
No.
no.
Yeah.
That's fairly well appointed.
Okay. John, why are you yelling Heather Stewart?
Heather Stewart? What?
John yelled Heather. Josh says, I wanted to ask what the plan is to replicate or find the fencing type iron that goes on the top of the mansard roof.
So what I've seen done, actually Eric, my historic carpenter, I think he's pretty sure he knows where it was cast and made because he's dealt with so many of these mansard roofs, and the cresting in particular, he's dealt with a lot of them. He thinks he'll be able to find a catalog or potentially find scans of the catalog from that company, and we could probably find my cresting in that. Then it's a case of sculpting it, and then sending it off. There's a big Amish, like I guess the Amish are best at casting cast iron at this point. They're really good at it, and so there's foundries in Pennsylvania that he's been sending broken pieces off to. They recast it, and the pieces come out incredible, like they were originally.
Wow.
So that's how we'll end up doing it. I did notice there's not a lightning rod up there. That might be something we probably have to add. St. Louis is, we're like on the very edge of Tornado Alley. We do have some very severe, very strong storms that come through here with lots of lightning. So I'm thinking a lightning rod would probably be a good idea, or almost a necessity.
Heard.
But that is way down the line. I want to get the girl her hat back. Then we'll work on the tiara on top.
Hugh said, have you two had any penetrating damp, salt, residue, bubbling paint? My external walls have no cavity, so water transfers and damages the paint. Needing some advice on how to fix it if you guys have any tips.
Well, paint has to come, if it's on stone, paint is terrible for stone unless it's a very particular type of paint. So if you have painted brick, it's gonna bleed. Like, you're gonna not allow the water to get out of that cavity. So the paint just stops it. It keeps it in there, and then you'll rot the building from the inside out. Happens to a lot of these brick buildings. I see it all over the place. And paint doesn't really adhere very well to brick anyway, so it'll eventually fail. What you can do is strip it, which will take a while, a pretty long time, to get all that paint off. It's a real pain, but you can do it. I definitely recommend peel away. Depending on the type of paint, it's either peel away 1 or 7. 7 is what we use here on the front. And it did take multiple times of doing it, but I think limestone's a bit more porous than your typical, even older brick. So it probably adheres a bit better to the limestone than a brick. And I would recommend taking the paint off. Then if you do want to add paint back to it, I would look into either, it was Keim or Beck with 2 E's. They're mineral paint companies. They're out of Germany, but they have suppliers here in the United States. You can buy those paints. They are more expensive, but they're made to work with masonry. They allow the masonry to breathe, and they also add an extra protective layer to the masonry. They use it a lot on like stone lighthouses and stuff like that, and they have to paint them every 50 years. And very harsh conditions for a lighthouse.
Now, wouldn't Beck with 2 E's be Beak?
Beak? I don't know. Beck? Beak?
Beak. Gas appliances did exist when your house would have been built, so running appliances on gas would technically be period correct. Cool.
It is a different type of gas, though. Well, it's possible. Most of the ones I've seen have, of the era, have a half wood, coal and half gas. Um, but the ones are a bit more advanced, and the you can like turn up the oven in the 20s, and it actually holds the temperature correctly. The technology kind of gotten a bit better. It makes it more usable using something from the 20s.
Mm. So thank you, Drake. Thanks for all the inspiration. Have you had any security or privacy concerns as a result of posting so much of your renovation online?
Oh no, not really. I mean, nobody's ever tried to break in or anything like that.
Mhm.
Knock on wood, we've had absolutely zero problems. Also, our neighbor is a security guard and a cop, and all of the neighbors talk here, and we all have eyes.
Mhm.
So I'm not really concerned about that. And as far as like uh, people on the channel, we've had quite a few people show up.
Mhm.
If I catch somebody out there taking photos or stuff like that, of course I will go out, have a conversation with them. Many people have been in my home just showing up.
Mhm.
It happens.
Yeah.
It's a bit hard to do it right now because of the situation we're in, as far as we're living in the two prettiest rooms in the house
Mhm.
because they're the most together and clean.
And I work in here, so
And
that makes
so
it even more difficult. So
I still try to give something because, again, I think you guys have given me so much of the possibility
Mhm.
to do this project, that I can't not in turn give part of myself to you. So that's, if anybody does show up and I happen to catch you outside, I'll definitely invite you through the fence. I'll show you the outside. And then when I get these things more cleaned up, I have no problem showing you guys the inside of the house.
Mhm.
Again, this place, me and Kim will be living on the third floor. The third floor of this place is our house.
Mhm.
The rest of this is part museum, part our house. We want people to come here and see this place.
Yep.
I mean, that's the entire point of it. I would never ask to do a GoFundMe or for Patreon for anything if this was going to be a private house,
Mhm.
but it's simply not going to be. I mean, we've had literal tour buses of people through here
Yeah.
twice now,
Yeah.
and then all kinds of other tours.
Yeah.
And the only time that we've ever charged is we're not getting anything from it. It's the organization that we want to support doing it,
Mhm.
or the last time it was our uh, neighborhood association that got the funds to help fix things in the neighborhood.
Mhm. Let's see. How long do you think it will take for the house to be completely renovated? Caleb said, what, like 7 or 8
It's
years?
about 7 or 8 years from here.
What other period homes other than yours do you like?
Uh, Actually, there's a lot of them. I think if I had to pick a favorite, it'd be arts and crafts.
Mm.
Like is it the Proctor or the Gamble House? I think it's the Gamble House in Pasadena, California.
I've never been there. You've been there.
I know it's amazing.
He's the one
It's
that's been there. Why is he
amazing.
asking me?
It's Procter Gamble being the big like soap company. They make a lot of things.
They make a lot
But
of
I don't know what
things.
they were founded on. I believe it was soap.
Mm.
But yeah, that house in Pasadena I think is one of the best houses in the United States.
Mm.
I also do really like Art Deco, especially early Deco with the really heavy like Mayan, Egyptian styling. Like was the Eastern Building in downtown Los Angeles.
Mm.
The exterior of that with the teal and the gold, I think, is so pretty. I guess it's more turquoise and gold. I really like streamlined modern, so like late 30s, early 40s stuff.
Mhm.
I really like the rounded shapes of that and the kind of the simple lines. I think they're really beautiful. I like Italianate, of course. There's some Queen Anne's I think are really gorgeous with the asymmetry they provide. I mean, really, there's not a lot of architecture I don't like. I don't like
Same.
5/1s. Not a big fan of anything that came out of like the 80s or 90s, especially
Mm.
like the Mies van der Rohe, the very boxy glass facaded things. Like, I just think they're boring.
Mhm.
But when an artist, or an architect were really trying to do something that was creative and beautiful, and uh, yeah, I don't know. I really like that stuff. I like architecture. I just do.
Okay. Um, okay. How long do you feel it will take to see rejuvenation in the neighborhood with NGA moving in?
I guess in about 10 years, this will be something probably like Benton Park West or Benton Park. Complete. I mean, I guess what is complete? It's the devil's in the details there. I think the neighborhood will be less scary to people from the county in 5 years.
Mhm.
Currently, right now, it's not a terribly scary neighborhood at all. The people we have had up from the county are like, "Oh, that's how it is up here." I
Yeah.
never had any idea. I was always so scared of the area.
Yeah, like I'm way more nervous in our old neighborhood
Well,
than
yeah,
here.
there's much more concern down there.
I don't get concerned ever outside with the
No,
dogs.
everybody's friendly.
No.
problems.
Mm-mm.
The biggest concern is if somebody else is walking a dog and then our dog's barking at the
Oh
dog.
my god. Yes.
That might be the worst thing.
Let's see. You inspired me to redo all of my 80s kitchen trim to match the original craftsman style and the rest of the house. Great.
Oh, that's awesome.
Awesome.
So cool.
Oh, your doggy has the most epic ears. Which one? That one?
He's got
I
pretty
feel like
big
they
ears.
all have pretty epic ears. Max's ears are pretty big for him, and Atlas has little sticky uppy ears. Is the lift machine working now? No, Andrea.
No, we're it was this week, but with Thanksgiving, so that's the problem.
Jeff said, sad I can't hang out, but wishing you a great Thanksgiving, Christmas from afar. Getting surgery next week, so I'll have some downtime to watch your videos when they premiere next month.
Jeff,
Jeff,
all
you're
the best.
probably gone, yeah, but sorry you're going through that. Hope everything goes
Yeah, I
well.
hope you get better, man. I know you've been going through quite a few of those. I don't know what it's for or anything, but I hope it's something too serious. And maybe one of these times we can get on the ice again. That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Also, I will say that my cousin was saying that he watches your videos and he loves them. He was saying, "There's this guy Jeff," and I've checked out a few of them too, man. Of course, it's a little talking over my head because it's a level of technical knowledge.
Cousin Garrett?
Garrett.
Okay, I was like, which cousin? Of
Garrett.
course it's Garrett. Let's see. Did you have a nice Thanksgiving?
Yeah, absolutely.
We were late.
Like 10 minutes.
Yeah, we were like 10 minutes late. Get in there, everybody's eating. I have to set Otis up in his crate so he doesn't like wander out the front door or like get a hold of something that somebody dropped that he can't eat. But so I'm sitting on the floor trying to eat next to the crate. So he doesn't get upset and start barking. And then Max comes over and is like on my plate.
We had a really good
It was funny. It was a funny day. Let's see.
What?
Are you two brother and sister?
No.
We're married. Hi guys. I also am a landscape designer who studied landscape design history. If you need help on making an authentic Victorian garden, let me know, even just for book recommendations. Thank you. Yeah,
totally. I would definitely like to see book recommendations. They're just concepts and ideas. It's just something that's so far beyond what I know. And I'm excited to learn. I think it'll be fun too. Maybe at some point I'll be out there in the garden a lot more than in the house.
Let's see. So what advice would you give to regular folks who want to save historic property in their community but don't have a big budget?
Well, I think one thing is if you're looking into doing anything like this, you should try to probably take on a smaller place first, which is what I did. Now, of course, I didn't film any of this, but I worked
I was
on
like, small?
No.
The old house.
I have a mixed-use building in South City, south part of the city of St. Louis, that I spent 3 years fixing up and repairing, and I kind of cut my teeth, so to say, on that. Most everything in there was gone except for the original tin ceiling. It used to be a pharmacy, so I did keep the original tin ceiling, and we ended up having to repaint it because there's a lot of holes knocked in it. But I think it came out really beautiful, and then the rest of the place was more of a renovation.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I'm sure that we could probably do, a little look around after the apartment upstairs is restored to where we had it, since people have been living in it for what, like 4 years.
Yeah.
We'd probably show you guys what we did up there.
Yeah, I mean, basically what I'm saying is I just think that honestly, I took this house knowing very well that I couldn't do as much as I needed to do as fast as I needed to do it. But I knew if I didn't take it, the risk of it not being here was so great that I just couldn't. I walked in, I fell in love. The price was something I could afford, but to actual fix it, I knew was a bit of a pipe dream for me. But I knew I would do just about anything I had to get it back. So I took a very big risk. Basically, we don't have money to do much of anything other than the house, and we probably won't for quite a while.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of the price we were paying right now for it. But you could definitely do like a 1,200, 1,500 square foot house for not a lot. But yeah, I mean, recommendations: be persistent, be ready to take on a little bit of debt, and be ready to take on challenges, and understand that even if you studied for 50 years to try to do this stuff, you would still never know anything, and there would still be things you have to learn on the fly.
Susan said, did the house have period correct sleeping porches off bedroom? No.
Well, one technically. I don't know if it'd be a sleeping porch per se, but there was the porch above on Mr. Brown's room. The Jefferson windows opens up to it.
Oh,
I always kind of called it like the smoking
yeah.
deck
I feel
or
like you probably
balcony,
went out
but,
there.
but that could definitely be that.
Oh, okay. Thanks, John. Heather gave us that beautiful mantle I picked up last weekend.
Heather, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. So
Alright.
Heather, is Heather here?
I don't see Heather.
Heather, if you're here by a chance, thank you so very much. That mantle is amazing.
This thing
Your
just
kindness
jumped
overwhelms
again.
us. Thank you. If you're not, I'll tell you that next week
Okay, there we
anyways.
go. If you ever come to Maine, come see George Barber's Design 83 in Ellsworth. I'm working on preserving the exterior and thoughtful upgrades.
Okay. Here, let me get a photo of it so I can look it up at least. Noted. Thank you, Chris.
Let's see. Did you get the dining room ceiling decoration recast and installed yet?
Not quite, but we're there. I have it pretty much together. Everything's pretty much cleaned up. I just have to cast it, and then I have to have a plaster put it back up.
Oh, they're both up there. Oh, that's my chair. I thought it was Max's butt. Let's see. Do you have an old age appropriate Sears catalog for ideas?
We do actually. We have a reprint of one, but it's not quite the same era. It's like 1904, I think, or 5. It could even be in the teens. But we have something to go off of, and of course, I don't exactly know. Like there'll be some parts of this house that are slightly off in era. Like I would really like to have. Well, I have one, but I don't think it's an original. But one of those big gramophones to play music in here. That wouldn't have technically been something that had been able to be owned in 1890. So it's going to be a mostly 1890 with some things up to like maybe 1910. Some decorations, some pieces, some maybe technology.
Who owns the vacant lot for Hall's house? That would make a great garden lot, especially planted in the shape of the house.
There's an investor who lives out in the county who owns it right now. Nice enough guy. But he ended up paying $20,000 for it, so I think we'll probably end up paying a bit more. But we do plan on getting that. That's where I plan on building the workshop and things like that. Of course, not the whole lot, just at the back of the lot. I plan on building a 2-story mansard garage, essentially carriage house. But that'll be my line shaft shop at some point.
Where we go? Drake says, thanks. Also, I have a lead on a Holland Brown sliding table software sale if you are interested.
We just
Is that the
got
one, the little
yeah.
trolley thing?
However, if you can send me a link for that to the email, that's always in the description of the videos. I think it was Second Empire Strikes Back at Gmail. I think that's it. Definitely go check one of the videos to confirm, or maybe John could throw it in here. But yeah, I would definitely love to see it. If anything, maybe I can get ideas of what I'm missing on mine, if it is the same as mine.
Hi, Lisa. Kim, how are you doing? Missed your vlogs. Doing good. Working a lot. It really drains you. Talking on the phone all the time. You know, people apply for The Price is Right. I call them to set up an interview over Zoom with one of the casting producers. So, I don't know. It's just a lot. Like, here, you know.
Oh yeah, the Gamble house is in the back of the future.
Oh, very true. A cattle baron in Texas owned the nicest designed Second Empire house.
Send us a photo. I want to see it.
House is brick. Thanks for the tips. House is brick. Some of it is painted. Some is still brick, and a small section was rendered part way.
Depending on what it's rendered with, you're almost better to let a little bit of the damp in than try to hold it inside the wall where it can damage the stone.
But even still, get the damp on just the plain brick, but less. Obviously, cannot wallpaper until I find a way of fixing it. Render will be the first to go.
Yeah, get the render off. I mean, you can put a lime render on it, which might be better. It'll move water better, and it'll also allow water again move out of the stone and dry the stone.
Joe said, if I came to your bed and breakfast when you are ready for business, would I be able to be allowed to smoke outside?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have no.
It's
Well,
gonna be legal here.
It's legal in Missouri in January.
Yeah. So, yeah, whatever. Let's see. Hello from Buenos Aires. I don't know hello in Portuguese. Are you aware of the anthracite stoves of the period? What a
Is anthracite a brand or a type?
or is that a? It sounds like a.
Well, obviously the answer is no. I don't think so, anyways. Unless I just didn't know the name for that type, and I've seen them.
I'm gonna do a Google what that is.
I know there's the ones with the wood stove half and the gas half that have like the griddle top on one.
Anthracite is known as hard coal.
Oh yeah, and I know what anthracite is, but I mean,
Oh, I didn't know what that was. All right.
well, I guess that means it's just maybe that's what they were burning.
Mm.
Okay, that would make more sense, I guess then.
When is the kitchen getting worked on? Well, hopefully as soon as Caleb gets all the
It depends
doors
on
and
the
windows
kitchen.
like airtight, you know.
Well, I'm actually this week. I hope to be. I need to go buy some wire. I'm hoping to be doing a bit of more of electrical in the basement. I want to get the entire first floor done electric wise. We got a lot of power cords running everywhere, and it was fine for a while. It's starting to get to me a little bit. I just want to get the cords out of the way.
Let's see. I've been watching. Oh, thank you both so much for your advice. My husband and I are slowly restoring a 601 square foot cottage that has been in his family for 3 generations. Learning to keep original features are huge for us. Are you guys gonna like live in it, or is
Super
it gonna
cool.
be like a vacation type of home? That's really cool.
I mean, I guess that would be almost more meaningful here. Like, imagine if it or if I or you were related to Mr. Brown.
Yeah.
I feel very connected to him, but I'm certainly not related to him.
Yeah. I mean, have you had a DNA test done?
My mom's done the family trees. She's dug pretty far back.
Oh, all right, all right. I haven't. My mom got me an ancestry DNA test like 2 years ago for Christmas, and I forgot I had it. And I just found it moving stuff the other day, and I need to do that. I need to do that.
Anthracite is smokeless coal. Okay, that
All right.
makes sense.
Oh, that's neat. I didn't.
So I guess the question would be, were stoves designed to purposely just burn anthracite, or were they made to accept other types fuel sources? Because I always thought most of the wood burners or coal burners would handle both. You could use either. But I didn't know if there was like a specific type that's maybe made for just that.
Would you? Hello from Ireland. Anthracite is a type of coal. Would you ever do more miniatures?
I would love to do more miniatures and just art in general. Like, I really like doing it. But of course, I'm doing a different type of art right now.
Mm-hmm.
No, at some point, yeah. Like, the library will be set up as partly my study and partly my studio. I don't plan on giving up art. Like, I'll always go back to that. I always occasionally get like a tinge, like a little itch to start some like goofy little project, but I know I can't. I gotta hold myself back. I've got a really, really big project here. But I think as things kind of start coming back together, and we really do have a home here, well, things will go faster, and I'll have more time to do more art. But yes, definitely I'll be getting back to that.
I'll try to get the cat. Say hello.
I've been watching you since day one. Love the Manchester style Victorian homes. Us too. We really, really do love our house. We think it's beautiful, and I'm just happy to be able to save it. Like, it was so close to not being here anymore. So close. And this was the last one. Since Hall's house is gone, this is the last one like it. Here, anyways. Enrique, thanks for watching, man. Thanks for sharing with us. Thanks for watching. Like, you guys really do make this easy, much easier than it could have been. So we really do think we owe you guys a lot. Bought my grandmother's 50s style mid-century house earlier this year and restored it. Like, it's important to keep it in the family. Happy I was able to save most of the original pieces. That's really cool, Rockin' Rides.
Yeah. So I was trying to get the cat, but he's laying in his little travel crate that he likes, and he won't come out. I thought he would just come out, but no such luck.
Anytime that you can, I think, put something back together or save something or fix something, and it doesn't have to be a house. It can really be anything, even, I don't know, relationships or whatever. Like, I don't know. It's always like a sense of accomplishment. I love that. Isn't the main priority right now getting the roof fixed and the house dialed in before winter? Yes. However, it's not technically possible to fix the mansard roof. But do understand, the mansard roof is 1/16, maybe less, of the actual full extent of the roof. It also let in far less water than the flat roof did. The flat roof let in waterfalls into this house,
Yeah.
which is why the brick walls were starting to collapse, which is the other thing that was the main priority. And we've been waiting for a while to get the correct pieces made for the mansard to put it back together. Things took a while.
It's been in the works for like a year and a half.
No, 2 years. Full 2 years.
Yeah, like we've never just said, oh, we're not doing it. It's been in the works. So it just takes a long time, somebody making the pieces for it,
And then we do have to overcome. So when we start the mansard roof, it'll literally just be the wood that goes first. So all the trim work, all the mill work that's up there, including the dormers, they go first. They all get repaired. But I haven't quite accounted for slate. And I know it's a pretty high price tag, probably somewhere between, if I get a really great deal, $25,000 and $45,000, something about there. So we don't actually know the solution to, in the meantime, what happens. And there's also the copper that has to go with it. There's copper flashing that has to go all the back and around there. And then there's the copper inlaid gutter that goes up actually in the cornice piece up there. That's how those mansards work. So it's not that we've forgotten or stopped. We do have a tarp up on it right now, which is the best I can do with the moment. If we do get some really great weather for like another week, like this week actually was amazing weather. But Eric, our carpenter, hasn't finished the dormer. However, we can get some really great weather and I can finally get these lift people to actually show up, then we will get back up there and I will put that dormer up before it gets way too cold. But as soon as it gets too cold, we're here till probably March before we can actually get more work done back up there.
Were you required to have special insurance for a non-occupied dwelling during the restoration? Well, John already answered that. Yeah.
Yeah, John would actually know better than us.
Yeah. John sent me a text.
Do you have the colors picked out for the mansard roof? Sort of.
Colors picked out for the mansard roof?
What?
I don't know. Bought in Edwardian in Toronto about 7 years ago. Love the house, but the heating pipes are wrapped with horsehair sewn into fabric. You predate us by about 20 years. How are yours insulated?
How is what insulated?
Heating pipes.
They're wrapped in asbestos. That's just how they did it. They did it for the longest time. Most of it we just don't mess with, but it is something that'll be coming down quite shortly.
Mm-hmm.
What am I going to do to insulate them again? I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, I have to get a team of guys to come out here and actually touch and redo that. So we just don't mess with them very often. Also, somebody at some point had ripped a lot of it down. So there's about half of probably what there was originally. But most of the outer sheath is in decent enough shape. So I'm not terribly worried about it.
How much money to be 100% done with roof? You said what, between 25 and 45 grand?
Well, right now we're about $10,000 into it in just lumber. Well, lumber and Eric's work, and Eric actually didn't charge us very much for it. He's nicer than he has to be, for sure. He's helped me so much with the machines. I mean, he's awesome. He's a friend at this point. He's great. I love him. Probably another. It's hard because we can't get good estimates. So I'm guessing, and this is a complete guess, probably about 50. And that's not counting the cresting. So that would just be new slates, all the new wood, dormers up back perfect, all the flashing done. Basically, it's no longer any kind of issue and is back to what it was originally. And of course, that's not counting any of the masonry or anything like that. But luckily, I can handle almost all of the masonry on the front myself, which is amazing. But that's a very rough estimate. It's probably one of the more expensive projects we have left, other than some of the systems. Luckily, we have most of the plumbing done, and then there's still some electrical stuff that has to be done, and then there's the other really last huge expense, which is the last of the HVAC or the AC systems.
Otis is over there laying on the bed, and his third eyelids are halfway closed, and he's like this. And he just looks goofy. Open or close all the way. You're freaking me out, man.
Tim, no, the lift hasn't gotten fixed. They were supposed to come the week before last. They didn't. They never called me, which is annoying when somebody says they're gonna do something, don't. And then this week was. Oh, thanks, Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
You guys don't have to do that. You guys were always so very nice.
There's Hank. How many bathrooms are completed? I only saw one. Yeah.
Just one.
Just one.
And it's a half bath. It's a powder room. But that being said, that was probably the most messed up room in the house, with water damage and all the nastiness in there. It had to have been the grossest room in the entire house.
Yeah, I didn't want to spend any time in there. It also didn't help that there wasn't a light, so it like looked
Yeah, it was dark and
dingy and
moldy and
yeah.
Mostly because it
If
had
it
a lot
would've-
of 20 stuff in there.
Yeah, I mean, if we would have like cleaned it really well and like gotten a light in there, like I would have been fine using
All the tiles were busted off of it.
it. True. The vitrolite, yeah.
Yeah, and the vitrolite's glass, so sharp, very sharp. There's like white duct tape holding a lot of it together, and they had fabric on the walls. I don't know. It was a real mess in there. And also the plumbing stack. You don't remember that? There was probably in the corner of that room. And the plumbing stack, cast iron was there. There was probably 300 pounds of cast iron sitting in that room that took up huge space.
Joy said, "Did you say third eyelid when explaining the dog? LOL." Yeah, so dogs have 1 and 2 eyelids. Is it called a third eyelid? I don't really know, but and then in the middle, they have one that comes across and closes underneath their outer eyelids. So, are you enjoying living and working in your house? Yeah, I love living here.
The dogs have such a much better quality of life living here, and we do as well. Like hugely, even with our like mini fridge and hot plate.
Yeah, and like
much better.
We just need. There's like a little dresser thing over there, and we need to put in a table. To like get us more like space because it's kind of just goofy over there right now. But like, I really like being here.
Air conditioner. Or air conditioned or no? We do have the first floor is air conditioned and heating. It's
the heater,
furnace,
the furnace
AC,
just came on.
HVAC system.
Yeah.
So that does work, and we do plan on doing it for the second and third floor. The second floor is where things become very difficult because on the first floor we can use a conventional system with ducting and all that because we have the basement underneath. So underneath we won't destroy the look of the house. It's the basement. It's okay. So we can run the ducts down there, no problem. But the problem is the second floor because I can't run anything above it because it's the third floor. And so we have to use these really small duct systems to drop down from the third floor into the second floor to get into the spaces above the closets. Actually, there's dead space above them. And that's how we'll be able to actually heat and cool those rooms.
Get that kitty.
So it's become a mess because it's a very expensive way of doing things. But I refuse to drop soffits in that area. It will completely destroy the look of the place. It makes it look terrible.
Yeah, it would.
And then I would have to lose transom windows, which I refuse to do. I will not lose my transom windows. They're such a amazing part of the character of this house. I just refuse. So if I have to just wait and save, I'll wait and save. I'd rather do it the right way than ruin my house because I want to save money.
Stinky Hank. He's going to be 16 and a half in like a month. Like 3 weeks. It's okay.
Find people who own property with an abandoned old homes. You can find an antique hardware and furnishings. Perhaps it could be a cheap way of getting what you need. Joe, well, really, I don't have too many, like, seriously, like, there's particular things I could use. Like, I use more of the trim that's here in the house. But I found one piece of it, actually, at one point. But it's more of, like, going to find things in that front. Most of the hardware and stuff like that, we have most all of it here. I don't think we're missing very much of it. And even if we are missing things, like they're so specific because I don't want 2 doorknobs next to each other that aren't the same doorknob. Or the same thing with the plates. I want the plates to all be the same. So, things are specific. Thank you, Belinda, so very, very much.
Yeah, thank you, Belinda. Somebody said, which shower do you guys plan to get going first?
Actually, I think the one down in the vet clinic, which is actually the needle shower. The plumbing's all kind of there for it. I do have to do some very specific work to blend in the old tile.
Hi, Moon.
Oh, hi, Moon. Kim's mom's on here. So that one I think is the one we're gonna get done first. I think it's it's one of the easiest in the location, but it does come with a little caveat. Like I have to find enough marble to put the shower enclosed in marble, because that's what it was back in the day. So I have to present it the way it was presented back in the day. And then just smoothing off the floor and matching that tile mosaic into the shower and stuff like that. So it's the easier one to get in, but we do need to come up with a bit of funds first.
Yeah. What? 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 You're all right.
Put that kitty down.
You're fine, baby. He's not even like struggling with me. He's just pissed. Hey, baby. Okay. You're fine. How many estimates would you recommend getting before moving forward with a project?
It depends heavily, I think, with the project. I think 3 is always like good rule of thumb, right? But it depends for something like, for instance, with the Mantle roof and redoing all the millwork up there. There was one guy in town I trusted.
Yeah.
One. So it didn't matter how many estimates I got. I was going with Eric. Eric works Hall & Brown Tools. He does amazing stuff on antique equipment, and he's passionate. So that just means that because there's one, I had to wait a while. He had a lot of projects going on, and I understand other things take precedent. And he's very exact, and so exact like me, he's kind of a perfectionist, so it takes him longer to build the stuff too. But with other things, I think 3, like for like anything like the slate or something like that. Sometimes in our case up here too, it's hard to get certain contractors that will come to our zip code because of older issues that used to happen up here.
Yeah.
And which to some extent I get. However, they'll gladly go to our old neighborhood in South City, which is really dangerous.
Yeah.
So I don't quite understand that thing. But again, things shift, neighborhoods change, and they're just not up to date with what it is like up here.
Yeah. Caleb, I'm surprised you said that.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Well, I mean, like you always kind of want to,
No, but the people who are here who have survived some of the, foolishness that did used to happen up here, like they're such amazing people. They're all mostly older people.
No, I'm saying I'm surprised that you said that the old neighborhood was dangerous.
I think it is there a little bit.
Yeah, no,
and again,
I agree
it's
with
spotty.
You, but you don't ever want to say that on here.
Well, not the entire neighborhood. I won't say the entire
not.
neighborhood
But
is
that's
bad.
why I moved here so abruptly.
But there were spots that were pretty bad, and of course it ebbs and flows. All it takes is somebody going out and making a terrible decision that leads to a bunch more terrible decisions happening directly after it. Retaliation, essentially.
Yeah. So things usually kind of happen in like little spurts. So I moved up here abruptly because something happened. So, let's see. We missed one that I wanted to add. Where'd it go?
Well, Lisa wants to come use the needle shower. I hope you guys get the chance to.
Yeah. Oh, the cat is Hank. I've had him since he was 9 weeks old, and he is now almost 16 and a half. So it's my first baby. Would you be able to repurpose marble countertops, the needle shower surround?
The only problem I have with like marble countertops that are of like a newer age is they polish them to such a high degree. It just looks, it's too shiny. Like my sink isn't terribly shiny. It's marble and it's polished, but not polished like that.
Yeah, no.
So there are a lot of reclaimed places. It's just about finding enough of it and then finding ones that aren't really beat. Or like, because they use them a lot in like bathrooms and like more public buildings, especially like around urinals. I've seen a lot where they have like the full, like probably almost 6 foot of marble running around the whole wall.
I was like, urinals, I'm like, I don't know much about
I'm
that.
sure the female bathrooms are the same, and the stalls, like where they connect the stalls to, is marble. In the older buildings, like the city hall.
I'm gonna level with you. Never paid attention. Not in the stalls. I mean, I might notice, like the flooring or, what the sinks look like, or if there's mirrors or nice lighting, light fixtures. I'm not looking at the wall behind the toilet.
We could potentially get away with doing subway tile as long as it's not the beveled subway tile, like the ones you see like people do like back. which I think is fine. I think that looks great, by the way. I love subway tile. But you have to have one that isn't cupped or rounded over at the edges. You want ones that are straight because those are more authentic. So if I find some straight, flat subway tile, I think that would be appropriate as well. The showers, again, probably from around 1900 to 1910, somewhere in there. It's not technically 1890, but neither is that room down there. So that room's going to be very 19 teens because that's the era it existed in. That's the era it was built in. Because again, that is the second owner's room. So, hello from Baker City, Oregon. Well, hello from St. Louis, Missouri.
Rocket Ride said, "Are there any architectural salvage places in St. Louis?" Yeah, we have a couple.
Yeah, the best one is a place called Junk with a Q. So Junk. I don't know. He wanted to get fancy with it, but he's only open on weekends, and he's located inside the Limp Brewery. But he's got some pretty amazing stuff. But that's the guy I think is the best. Yeah, John here also said refab, and refab's pretty good. Their prices on some things are awesome, and some things are like,
You are shaking the heck out of that table right now.
oh, because I'm touching it. I'm moving too much. Facing the wrong way.
Oh my goodness.
Fingers crossed you find a picture of the missing newel post someday. I would love to see the newel post back in for you. Yeah, we hope to as well. Again, anything that we're missing. Also, the fretwork that used to go above, or the spindles that used to go above the pocket doors. There are shadows of them being there. I have no idea when they came out, but they definitely came out probably not too terribly long ago. And I would love to have a photo of those because if I could have it recreated, I will put it back exactly as it was. I think as soon as I find a photo of the interior, I kind of become addicted to making it perfect again. It's kind of the same way I am with the front of the building. I want it to make it look like their house, like it was back in the day. So if it's in that photo, it gets put back.
Oh, Nikki, do you mean that big tub? That really big tub by the front?
Oh, at refab.
The really expensive one? Oh, I want that tub too.
That tub.
That's like a little pool.
That tub too is also wrong for air. It's probably 19 teens, 19, 15, 16. Built
nice.
around the same time.
Like literally, you guys, you could fill this tub up and just be like this in it.
Yeah, that's a Compton Heights tub.
That's a big tub.
I guarantee that's where it's from too. Is Compton Heights.
What's the massive construction? I'm sorry, I missed that. I saw it up higher. I meant to answer, but I missed it again. Because Caleb was chit chatting. So, what's the massive construction pit near your house? What is being built, and how do you reckon it will impact the neighborhood overall?
So it's what's called the NGA, the National Geospatial Agency. Basically, they are a affiliate of the United States Air Force. They fly drones and satellites.
Yeah.
So they're partly military, partly their own thing. Exactly what they do, if it makes anybody, I guess, I don't know. They have unmarked like SUVs that drive around the perimeter and then down our street and stuff sometimes, occasionally, that I see. I do think that there's probably going to be, well, we probably won't have any issues with much crime in the next, we don't really have very many issues already, but I don't think there will be much crime happening here because of it, because it is semi-federal. So I don't think it is going to let them mess with it. It's hard to say exactly how it'll impact the neighborhood. It definitely hasn't made prices go higher, but does it make the neighborhood be more historic? I don't know. They did eminent domain of quite a few houses to build it. Some of which I think is kind of a spit in the face of the residents here because they're putting like a baseball park in there that only employees of the place can use. But it's like, that's kind of a spit in the face when you're like, we need our own baseball diamond.
Yeah, they have a lot of
so
land.
We're going to tear down your house.
There's going to be a pond and stuff. Like, they're not building on the entirety of that land. They're building on what, like a quarter of it?
Yeah, they needed 40 acres and they took 99. And then they're putting like a duck pond and a baseball diamond.
And like they should let the neighbors use that stuff. But.
And there were some pretty, I mean, our street right here was definitely the wealthiest of the streets, but it's not like that street was a slouch either. And there was like at least 2 streets that were in pretty good shape. Of course, a lot of the neighborhood had lost a lot of the houses as well. There was also an old brown shoe factory that the guy was trying to turn into something really amazing. and there was no reason to tear it down. It was on the very corner of the property. They could have left it, but they decided to take it anyways. So it's not great.
Oh,
Yeah, the Buster
thank you.
Brown Shoes Factory.
Oh, I didn't-
Rock and Rides is talking about that. Yeah, that's the worst of it.
I
Like, it
didn't
made
know
no
that.
sense. It's on the corner of the property. They could have left it alone, and it was a National Historic Place. Like, I don't know. So it might infect or help the neighborhood get better. I know there's going to be building like hotels and all this other stuff now. I'm just hoping they open up and actually, do impact the neighborhood. Like, you guys have taken a lot, give some back. So we're hoping that happens. It's definitely made investors feel like it's coming back because the prices have been quite a bit higher.
Marilyn said, forgot to mention it, Kim. You look so beautiful on your wedding day. Green is your color. Thank you. I felt like the baddest that day. I looked so
The
good.
baddest, she says.
I felt like a baddie. I was like, I look so good. This dress, these heels, this hat. Don't talk to me. not like that, but you know what I mean.
Is there a way to moderate the style of the new infill houses that'll come in the future? There is, and we've been trying to work for that, and I need to get back to working on that. There are historic districts you can get in place here, and we have been talking to the city to do that. But we have to pick the right plan, and my thing is I don't want to impact people who live here currently. I know very well how expensive it is to put one of these houses back perfect, even if it's just a facade. And I don't want to put that on people who couldn't afford it potentially. But what we were really focusing on is the new houses that come. So if you buy a lot here, you can't have a detached garage, vinyl sided house because don't build ranch style houses here. It makes no sense. There's plenty of room all over the city for you to do that. I just don't want them here. And so I know somebody who's actually probably going to be building a house up around here in the next year or two, actually down on the corner of my block. And I've had a pretty long conversation with him about what he wants to do. And he's going to be building at least a building that is tall and narrow, like the ones that are here. So it'll kind of be a modern-ish sort of Victorian. I think it'll even have a mansard roof.
Nice.
So at least it doesn't feel completely out of place, and I respect that. That's fine. I don't want to be crazy about what you can and cannot build here. I just want it to really match the scale of the neighborhood because these buildings are quite tall.
Did you hear that out of Otis? Charlie Brown Christmas tree. Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably the beginning.
Yeah, I'll probably just get one of those little tiny ones they sell at Target that are like the little colored tinsel ones. I love those.
The what? Oh.
The ones that are like they sell at Target that are like $10 and they're like little fake Christmas trees, but they're made out of like they have different colors.
Oh yeah, no, sure.
I love those. And then they make the little mini ornaments to go on them
One
too.
of those like mid-century aluminum trees. John used to have one of those. They were really cool. Like shine lights on it, it would turn colors. It's just shiny chrome.
What's wrong with the beanie?
Oh yeah, so when we first had these made, they only printed the Holland Brown and woodworking. They tilted woodworking all goofy. Or actually, no, I don't think they have. Yeah, I think they have woodworking, but then they didn't have any of the other marks here. And then they forgot to put the tag on the side too. And I'm like, guys, we went over this. We had this one made. What's going on? So those orders should be getting fixed. I mean, I don't care if I have to pay for them to be fixed and then send you a new one. I'll make it happen.
Yeah.
That's not all right with us. If I'm wearing something, this is what they sent me, so they should be able to send this to you guys if you want one.
Yeah, it's
and if they don't, I'll figure out how to make it right. I'll send you your money back or whatever. I'll make it right, but that's not all right.
Okay, there's a couple of big ones here. I should say Caleb looked handsome too, didn't he? Though you looked so good on our wedding day. We were baddies.
I need to trim my beard a little bit now. It's getting a little long. I'll let it grow back out for November. For playoffs.
Oh, I was trying to get him to shave his beard off because I've never seen him without it and just leave a mustache. I don't know if he's gonna go for it though. I just want to know, and I'm sure it'll grow back like within like a week. So, Oh, somebody said that they got their beanie. Jess said that they got their beanie, but yeah, thank you about the hat.
Hopefully the beanie is again with this full thing and not just the Holland Brown woodworking.
Mm-hmm.
Needs to at least do the St. Louis.
Yeah, our
part.
sample had an error, right?
The sample had it. Well, the sample they manipulated the art to make it work for their machines, and they're like, no, you need to manipulate it again because it doesn't look good.
Oh yeah, because it's just it does have co on it.
Yeah, it does.
Okay,
So it does have the machine co. So they had just had Holland Brown woodworking instead of the Holland Brown woodworking machine co. I'm
Mhm.
still missing the St. Louis and stuff on here, but I think this is fine. Like this at least tells the full story of actually what it is.
Yeah.
If you take the word machine off, it's like, oh, they do woodworking. Well,
Mhm.
they didn't do woodworking. They made the machines that other people did the woodworking on. So
Okay. Talking to John. She said mine doesn't say St. Louis, unfortunately. Yeah, I don't think there's room. So the
no,
sign
yeah,
says
they don't say
Second
St.
Empire
Louis.
Strikes Back.
Yeah, I'm an idiot. I thought I'm also looking at it because it's backwards. I'm sure it's backwards for you guys too.
Hi, Susie. Yeah, so talking about how that could have been torn down if it was on the National Historic Register.
They can. I mean, eminent domain. They can do
That's insane.
more than you think.
That's insane.
But I mean, Rock and Rides was saying that they put a piece of it, the brown shoe factory, inside the building. But the problem is, you can't go in. It's not a public building. You
Yeah.
can't just walk in. It's got security
And like
guards and
if
stuff.
you
It's like kind of
if
like
you
the
walked
NSA.
in there, like if you like tried to walk in their gate or like hop their gate, you would probably.
No, it's protected. It's like military secrets, and they do all the mapping for the military. So it's yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they're like the people who are mapping things for Ukraine right now. They probably are. They fly satellite. I mean, they satellite technologies and all that. It's a very high tech communication thing. Mapping. I don't know.
Okay, orangish says Rita. There are ways around the historic designation. Unfortunately, very often current owners intentionally neglect the building with the goal of getting a demolition permit. Oh, don't we know of somebody like that?
Paul McKee.
Paul McKee.
Yeah, actually, a lot of these houses weren't as bad about 10 years ago until this guy went and bought a lot of them
And
and
just sits on them.
complete deferred maintenance. He had a lot of really cool old warehouses that I don't know why 5 out of the 6 of them burnt mysteriously. One of the more historic houses we had here in the city he also owned, which was the Clemens house. You might know the name Clemens from Samuel Clemens, also known as Mark Twain. It was his uncle's house, I believe. It was one of the prettiest houses in the area. It had these iron faces above all these windows and stuff, women's faces. And it's really, really beautiful. And he had that property, made all these promises. And then when people saw him taking stuff off the building, it's like, oh, I'm putting it in storage to save it. And then we're going to restore the whole thing. And then, oh, it's another one of those mysterious fires. Oh, but now I have all these things that I saved. I'm going to go ahead and auction them all off. Yeah, so there a lot of what we have historically, because like St. Louis was a very important city, especially earlier in the century, um, very important. So we had all these people who built all this wealth, who had all these amazing pieces of architecture and all this stuff. And as you know, the city's aged and people didn't care, and then the population declined. They've just basically taken all of our amazing pieces, all of our historical artifacts, all of our, you know, what we call this salvage, and it's gone to places like Atlanta, New York, Los Angeles, yeah, like it's just gone all over the country. So there's I would say in basically every city in the country probably has a little piece of St. Louis in it because of this, and then of course the brick connection because we built so many of the brick cities. I know Atlanta has a real desire for our old brick. They love it. We do also only have 5 minutes.
Yeah, everybody, when we're done, head over to Mansard Media. You need to talk about whatever.
Oh yeah. So they were doing a draw this week for 2 winners, and they both actually ended up being some of our viewers.
Winners for what?
They're doing a draw for. They were giving away, I believe, hoodies and a watch.
Oh, cool.
The watch is really cool too. It has like their logo and stuff on it.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, I think they only made 2. One's Matt's, and one is like the one they're giving away.
That's really cool.
So
that's cool. Oh man. Oh, he said, oh.
And thanks everybody for always being here with us. You know, we
Mhm.
really we should probably do this more often, and maybe we will. But we what?
They're so cute.
But you know, I just want to reach out and tell you guys thank you so much
Thank you.
as always for being here. You guys
Mhm.
really make this entire thing possible.
Mhm.
Without you guys like watching our goofy little project, this would be a lot harder than it is.
Mhm.
So thank you guys. You guys have a really big hand in making all of this a reality. So
Joyce, we have 3 dogs. So we got these 2. Otis is a Beagle mix, Beagle Sheltie. Max is Basset, and then Mastiff, and then other stuff. And then big dog, Atlas. Atlas, come here. Big dog.
he's German Shepherd Husky, but looks
Yeah.
a lot like a husky with like a German Shepherd coloring on his back.
Yeah. And he's pretty. Big dog, come here, baby.
He's just hanging out.
He was looking anyways, because I said his name. Come here. Come back here. Come here, baby dog. Come say hi to everybody.
Oh, so you guys see the Mansard Media, or Jess, do you see Mansard Media that commented right before you? Go to their channel. That's the channel the video will be on.
Yeah.
So everybody go to at the Mansard Media, and actually I'm gonna go ahead and head off to my computer so I can hop in the chat with you guys.
Yeah.
And use the restroom really quickly, and we'll see you guys over there. So again, thank you guys
Yeah,
all
thank
so very
you.
much. Love you guys. Please take care of yourself. Have a wonderful, wonderful holiday. Happy Thanksgiving. All
Yeah.
wonderful stuff, and we'll see you guys over there. So bye-bye.
Bye.
See you soon.